there's more detail in the packet about the analysis of the proposal relative to the comprehensive plan. But essentially, the recommendation is that, or the finding is that the oil wells are not consistent with the comprehensive plan because they are an obstacle to the low-density residential growth that's anticipated. Detrimental impacts to nearby properties, that's another factor. It could create a gap in development. There are possible negative impacts of the wells and the tank battery, both visually and environmentally. There is some risk of improperly plugged wells. Oil wells at this location could discourage surrounding development and thereby would prevent the city, the community, from capitalizing on the investment in infrastructure that's been made in this area, which has been substantial. The economic impact on the community, there's some overlap here. City and school district have invested in facilities in this area with guidance from the comprehensive plan in preparation for residential growth. Major investments, Celebration Park, the sewer facility that I've already mentioned, the middle school, and actually the school district has purchased ground to the west, on the west side of Four Corners Road for a school, as a school site. This is a map that was discussed at the public hearing, and one of the issues surrounding plugged wells is that there are plugged wells in the city currently in areas that have been developed and where there have been no major accidents that we are aware of. And so just wanted to show you this map. The area that's kind of shown in this kind of a pinkish, brownish background, tan background, that is within the city limits. The large red dots in the map, those are active wells. The small green dots with a cross through them, those are plugged wells. As you can see, there's a concentration of plugged wells north of 175th and just west of Waverly Road. What you can also see is the concentration of wells in the area it'd be just east of the Kill Creek wastewater treatment plant, but outside the city. So just to summarize, there are potential hazards that affect neighboring land uses. The comprehensive plan envisions low-density residential development. Significant public funds have been invested in community facilities in anticipation of residential development. Oil wells could likely hinder or significantly delay future development. Planning Commission held the hearing on July 29th, and they have forwarded a recommendation of denial to you for your consideration. I'd say a lot of the discussion at the Planning Commission meeting, there is a summary of the meeting in your packet that details this, but a lot of it centered around the potential for the oil wells to be abandoned earlier than 20 years. There was questions about the economic viability of the wells and how that relates to someone or the operator likely leaving the well and redeveloping as single-family residential use. There was some discussion of what's the revenue impact of wells, and staff knows a lot more about that now than was brought out at the meeting. I can try to answer those questions if you have questions about the revenue impacts of the wells. I will say that when wells operate on private property, the property continues to be appraised as an ag use, so it doesn't increase the level of, or it doesn't increase the value of the land in terms of an appraisal. That's my understanding. There are some other tax revenue impacts that I can try to respond to those if you have questions about them. Anyway, as was noted in the packet, we did receive a protest petition from David Waters, who represents the property owner of the parcel to the northeast, which you can see in this map. It's a 160-acre parcel to the northeast. It is a valid protest petition, and it does affect the vote that has to take place in order to override the Planning Commission's recommendation. The applicant is here to make a presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, well, first we'll open the floor for public comments regarding new business item number 3. If there's anyone that has comments regarding new business item number 3, now's your opportunity to come forward and be heard about it.
Good evening again, Council. There's a few things I'd like to let Council think about. The number one thing is that this person, whoever owns this land, and I don't know him, I don't know who it is, but they are the landowner, and I don't see why Council decides what they can do with their own land. This is America. It's based on coming here and doing whatever you can do and not having interruption from government. That was what it was all about. So for Council to decide that someone can or cannot do something with their own private land, I think is an injustice to the system itself. Secondly, I used to work in the drilling field, and capping wells has been going on for over 100 years in this country. So to say that we can't have development because the well might be capped incorrectly or something, even the waste, if anything spills, I've worked on environmental spills before, and they're cleaned up every day, and nobody even hears about them anymore because it's done so effectively. But then again, if something was to happen and this person went out of business, the person who's going to buy that land and turn it into residential housing can easily do that cleanup and have it figured into the cost of their structures. So I would say don't let that be a reason that you vote against it for the fear of some environmental nightmare that's out there, because inevitably somebody will buy it and turn it into whatever it needs to be. But the main focus needs to be that it is not your land, it's someone else's land. They shouldn't even have to be here, in my opinion, to ask for permission. Thank you.
No one else coming forward, doesn't appear. Questions for Mike on new business item number 3?
Mr. Mayor, I did have 2 things.
Sure.
The first point is that because this is a decision affecting the zoning of the property, you need to poll the council for any ex parte contacts, meaning any phone calls, emails, things of that nature from individuals other than staff relating to this item. And then the second point, once we've done that, I can talk about the effect of the protest petition on the vote. So.
Okay. And when you say, can you just get us close to clarifying that the ex parte contact, just with the property owners, or?
No, with anyone, either
anyone that
proponents
has anything to
or
do
opponents of the application.
Okay. Anyone? Steve?
No. Well, I received an email from Judith Rogers outlining some concerns regarding this, so, yeah.
Okay, so that's a constituent. Larry?
I don't remember that email, but I don't know.
All this after the planning commission meeting, it was drafted and then sent to everyone.
Oh,
Steve?
yeah, that one was sent to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Steve?
Not beyond that.
Just the Judith Rogers email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the second item is the voting on the protest petition. The relevant Kansas statute dictates that when a valid protest petition is filed, that the passage of the request for rezoning has to be passed by a 3/4 majority of all members of the governing body. Now, the members of the governing body, who is a member of the governing body, is determined by, in this case, our Charter Ordinance 19, which was amended by Charter Ordinance 26, but this requirement didn't change. The mayor is a member of the governing body, And so the mayor is a voting member